When I saw him the first time, I knew he was something special.
For Sweden, he's Zidane or Raúl or whatever you want.
When he gets a bad decision, there's a look he does, and you'll find it if you go, it's brilliant.
Henrik was always capable of pulling something out of the fire.
He has earned his glory.
He's been a fantastic servant for Celtic.
I think he's the best all-round player I've played with.
I was always wishing when I was at Rangers he would leave.
He's obviously going to be irreplaceable.
He must be among the 10 best strikers in the world today.
It's been really great honor, fighting with this guy.
I think he's a goal-scoring phenomenon. It'll be a big miss, but I'll tell you, it'll be somebody else.
It's been a marriage made in heaven.
Anything here, please? With a smile.
In the summer of 1997, Wim Jansen kicked off his managerial career at Celtic with a spate of signings, the biggest being the arrival of Henrik Larsson.
Celtic looks like a very good club, so I think it's going to do good to my further development as a player and as a human being.
He's got tremendous skills, he's got a great personality as well, and I think he'll be an exciting player to watch.
No one could have predicted the impact Larsson would make. Born in the small Swedish city of Helsingborg, 6-year-old Henrik Edward Larsson first displayed his football skills with local amateur club, Hågaborg.
He was very competitive. He always wanted to win. So he competed in everything. Well, he didn't stick out so much because there was a few other players who were really good in his age. So later, when he was 14, 15, you could tell that he will be a good player, a very good player.
His reputation soon drew the scouts, and he moved to Helsingborg for £50,000. There they'll never forget his dreadlocks and scoring prowess.
We had a great time together, and I think everybody speaks about Henke and Masse. One of my most memorable times was when we first time in 24 years to First Division, and it was, I think, 10,000 people waiting for us. It was fantastic.
Then in 1993, Feyenoord's technical director Wim Jansen lured Larsson to Holland.
Larsson!
However, Jansen's delight resulted in despair for a certain Sven Göran Eriksson.
It was almost that I was signing him once, many years ago. I think it was in Sampdoria, I don't remember. But for one reason or another it didn't work out. I was disappointed, but then life went on, and I went one way and he went another way.
Although Henrik Larsson enjoyed 2 Dutch Cup successes, his 4-year spell in Rotterdam turned into a nightmare. Arie Haan took over as manager in 1995, and the relationship between the two deteriorated gradually. By this time, Wim Jansen had arrived in the East End of Glasgow and was alerted to Larsson's availability. He moved quickly to rekindle his relationship with the Swede.
It was important for me to get a striker because Di Canio and Van Hooijdonk left Celtic, so I didn't really have a striker at that point. And then I heard that Henrik came available, so that was for me the biggest point, to try to get him to Celtic.
And within 3 weeks, he got him.
It was a bit of a bargain at the time. One of the bargains in Celtic's history anyway. But I knew he was a good player, seeing him in Sweden in World Cup '94. And he scored a few goals for America. I hadn't obviously seen his day-to-day, week in, week out playing in Holland. But you're always going to get somebody, a good player that plays for the national team.
I can remember people jumping up and down and thinking, we've got the man to solve all our problems. And in fact, I remember thinking myself that he seemed a bit of a lightweight when I was thinking of how this blonde Rasta was going to cut it in the dark and muddy SPL.
Larsson arrived at a critical time. Bitter rivals Rangers were chasing a record 10th successive league title.
We were not from the start aware of that, but during the season we knew really what's going on and how important it was for the Celtic supporters. And yeah, that's why we did the whole staff and the players everything to win the champion that season.
After netting 16 league goals in his first season in Glasgow, Larsson and his teammates toasted championship success.
Well, I think nothing will ever be more crucial at Celtic Park than that event. I can't imagine, and I'm delighted that Rangers didn't get the 10. Not in any anti-Rangers way, please believe me. I just think it was brilliant for Glasgow that they both did 9.
I'm sure later on he'll probably realise the 10 was a real thing, but not to the extent where a lot of the Scottish guys knew what it meant to Celtic fans really to stop it.
However, within hours, celebrations at Parkhead were brought to an abrupt halt. Wim Janssen's fragile relationship with the club hierarchy resulted in the Dutchman's departure from Celtic. Larsson was now working under Joseph Venglos, and the Swede's talismanic status was being established. Although the championship was lost to Rangers, an impressive tally of 29 league goals netted him the Player of the Year award and a new 4-year contract.
I'm very pleased. I mean, it's a very big club and have the potentials to be even better than we are at the moment.
Larsson became a thorn in every Scottish side, including Rangers.
Against him, it was a game where you should use your strength, but most of all, you should use your really concentration, because you couldn't leave it a chance really a yards away from him, you know, especially in the box. Outside the box, okay, it's no problem, but inside the box, you couldn't really give him a chance because he will take it, definitely.
It always pointed out that, I mean, Larsson was a main threat for Celtic. I mean, it was all Lorenzo and Craig, I think most times done well to sniff him out, but you couldn't. I mean, you wouldn't see him for 89 minutes and 1 minute he could pop up and score a goal against you.
I have a lot of admiration for him. He had some problems with Craig Moore. Moore played quite sharp on him, so in that way he had to play very sharp, but he had always an eye to get the goals.
Another season, another manager. The summer of '99 saw the arrival of John Barnes. At this time, the club began to recognise and exploit Larsson's off-the-pitch value.
Bring your left hand up to the top. That's that, yeah.
But then, in October that year,
he was actually chasing the left back all the way down.
I just remember Henrik getting kicked.
I don't think it was a malicious tackle.
When I looked up, you could see the shape of Henrik's leg.
It's when you look away and you feel sick.
Celtic striker Henrik Larsson will undergo surgery tomorrow on the left leg he broke in a horrific incident during last night's UEFA Cup tie against Lyon.
I heard something like click, and then when I rolled over I saw it was broken.
At the time, I'm much more concerned with trying to get a result.
He was really calm at the time, which was surprising, and must have been in a hell of a lot of pain. I know I would have been screaming.
It's not until after the game and you realise he's broken his leg, he's out for a while. So obviously the sympathy towards Henrik, but more importantly from my point of view, I realised that we didn't really have a chance against Rangers that year without Henrik Larsson. You just couldn't replace him. The season, in terms of us trying to win the league, was gone.
without Larsson, Celtic not only struggled to compete with Rangers, but also suffered the ignominy of being eliminated from the Scottish Cup by Inverness Caledonian Thistle in February 2000.
The decision taken to terminate the contracts of John Barnes and Eric Black is in the best interests of Celtic Football Club.
On the pitch, Larsson made his comeback in a 2-0 victory over Dundee United in May that year. And against the odds, he won his race to be selected for Sweden's Euro 2000 squad.
After he broke his leg, he developed as a footballer. And when we saw him in the training camp, and we played a friendly that he was qualified.
Of course, he's a big star in all Europe, in all the world, and of course for a Swede to have Henrik in the national team or not, it's a big difference.
The striker returned to Celtic Park, where Martin O'Neill had assumed the manager's position, the club's fourth appointment in 3 years.
I will do everything I possibly can to bring some success here to the football.
With the famous dreadlocks now confined to a barber's bin in the city, Larsson smashed Charlie Nicholas's post-war record of 48 goals in a season. Celtic were unstoppable, winning the CIS Cup, reclaiming the SPL title and the Scottish Cup to complete the treble for the first time in 32 years.
Bounced back as if he'd never been injured, and came back strong, and he was fantastic. He's a mentally strong character. In everything he does, he's got a will to win. It doesn't matter if he's playing football or golf or pool or anything. He's determined, and he was determined to come back strong, and he did.
It's Henrik Larsson.
With 53 goals to his name that season, Larsson collected the coveted European Golden Shoe Award.
Can you believe you did that?
No, not really. You need a little bit of luck as well, and good teammates as well, so I'm pleased with that.
Even when he got the Golden Shoe for being the best scorer in Europe, people wonder who is Henrik Larsson. But you can go today, you can go around in Europe, and they know. He has told them who he is.
Henrik Larsson, Lennart Johansson, thank you very much indeed.
Absolutely fantastic achievement, which great credit to himself as well, and but I'm sure he looks probably back and that winning that thing has been a great thing in his career.
I think he was the most wanted player in Europe at a certain time. Well, for me, it was still strange that he always stayed at Celtic. I was always hoping that a big club in Europe would buy him, but it never happened. That says enough about the player who really liked to play for Celtic.
He became the highest paid player in Scotland when Martin O'Neill rewarded him with a 1-year extension to his contract on a reputed £38,000 a week.
And into this camera, please, guys. This one here, straight ahead. Thank you.
Having made his mark domestically, O'Neill was determined to put the club back on the European map. Baldy, Hartson, Guppy and Silla were recruited in the close season. But it was Larsson who continued to grab the headlines following victories over Ajax, Porto, Rosenborg and Juventus in O'Neill's first Champions League campaign.
He's always done it in big games, and I think that's the beauty when you're sitting in the dressing room and looking around at the other players. He's a player who you like to have in there, and if he's on top of his game, we've got a great chance of getting a result.
All of Scottish football used to be kind of down the wing to the touchline, whack it over and nut it in, or cause a bit of a scramble in the goalmouth and get it in there. Whereas he brought this kind of balletic, dancey, little wee tiny touches. And then woof, it was a beautiful thing to watch, and I didn't like it at first. I was a great fan of the bluter,
With Larsson's reputation enhancing rapidly, Sir Alex Ferguson tried to tempt him to Old Trafford.
Yeah, it was teams who were interested in me, yes. But I just settled in here, and I had a little rough time in Holland, and I thought that it's better to stay here with you and your family, or settle in and just get on with it. And I know it hasn't been the wrong decision.
The big clubs are even finding it difficult to keep their quality players from something like supposedly an even bigger club again coming in. But I think that there was a rapport with the fans, and I think that helped immensely. And it was a matter of trying to pay him a fair day's pay for a fair day's work.
He's idolised, really. I don't know if I can count one hand how many players have got that at certain clubs, but he's definitely got that here.
He stayed in Celtic because he liked to play for the club. He is a Celtic man. We say that money talks louder than anything else, not always. I've got the impression that he loves to play in Celtic. He loves to live in Scotland.
After scoring 29 league goals that season, Larsson was now expected to deliver for Sweden on the world stage.
He's found Larsson. Henrik Larsson for Sweden! Henrik Larsson doing what he does best.
I think he's ranked today, together with the players, the best players ever in Sweden. I wouldn't say he's the best, but he's one of them. Because Sweden had, many years ago, Nils Lidholm, Gunnar Nordahl, Ralf Edström, Torbjörn Nilsson, Thomas Brolin. Henrik Larsson is one of them. So he's ranked absolutely in the top.
Once again, Champions League football was the promised land for Celtic. But an unexpected defeat to Basel appeared to have ended their European aspirations. Just as one European campaign died, another was born. Injury denied Larsson the chance to leave his mark on Stuttgart. But Blackburn, Celta Vigo and Liverpool all succumbed to the Celtic goalmaster. Then...
There was maybe about 10 minutes left in the game.
We weren't playing that well particularly.
Suddenly a little situation developed.
When you hit the ball, you try to hit it as clean as you can.
It looked first of all as if the chance had disappeared.
The way it came off his boots, the spin seemed to take it away from the goalkeeper.
And then suddenly Henrik puts it in.
Fantastic feeling, that goal went in. That's a massive, massive goal for the club.
I'll tell you what, it was an important one.
It's fate that really, isn't it? Henrik's scoring to get into the final.
Who else would score the solitary goal which propelled Celtic into their first European final in 33 years?
Is that the most important goal of your career to date, do you think?
Yeah, to date, yeah, I think so, without a doubt.
His ability to create something out of nothing, and the ability to score a goal, and when you think something's on, he'll do something different which takes people by surprise. You know, his element of surprise is fantastic.
An estimated 80,000 foot soldiers marched into Seville.
We don't have anything to prove to anybody.
Despite the heroic efforts of Larsson, his 2 goals, which put him over the 200 mark, simply weren't enough. Celtic's dreams were shattered by a Porto extra time winner.
It's not going to be very good memories now. You come this far, you only got this here in the pocket. And that's not what I came here for tonight.
Henrik took it badly. I mean, looking at it, he was fantastic in the final. He scored 2 fantastic goals, and that might have made it harder for him to take the most. But everybody took that badly.
I thought his performance in the UEFA Cup final was absolutely outstanding. It's a shame, it's a pity that it didn't end up with victory, and I think that would be something that everyone would have cherished for a long, long time. I'm quite sure when he's old and grey, he'd maybe have a look at that and realise that was an absolutely splendid personal performance.
It would have been such a tragedy to go to Seville and not get a chance to celebrate a goal, and he gave us 2 occasions. And for me personally, it gave me a great excuse to hug my dad. Being a West of Scotland male since I was about 4 years old, you don't get a lot of chances to.
Then 4 days later, arch-rivals Rangers pipped Celtic to the championship crown on goal difference. So despite one of their finest seasons in decades, the club finished with nothing.
We gave it one hell of a run, to be fair. We had games, tough European matches away, and we had to come back and play domestic with tough games as well. We had to go again, and the players, they kept on turning it on and producing it. And to lose the league by 1 goal was sore.
In pre-season, Larsson returned to his roots.
Henrik!
And he didn't disappoint. Nor did he against MTK Hungaria in a Champions League qualifier, in which he broke the record held by Peter Lorimer and Ian Rush for the most European goals scored by a single player for a British club.
They have just got that little extra second of confidence, if there's such a thing as putting confidence into seconds. Jimmy Greaves had it in abundance, a great player, Jimmy Greaves. Dennis Law had it in abundance. Ian Rush was a fantastic goal scorer. He just absolutely terrific. Gary Lineker scored a lot in the era that you've played in. There's a fair chance that you'll be a great player in the years that have gone before or the years that will happen afterwards. And Henrik has been a great player in this era.
No, he's a tremendous player. He's a nice guy as well, and he's been a great success. He's been a tremendous favourite in there, because I think that the fans aren't daft. They can see a player, they can sense, but they can sense also that people are getting 100%. They can sense the passion that they have for the club.
Jinky will always be number one, but Henrik, the rest are all below Jinky in a kind of pyramid, you know. And Henrik's right up there in the first five.
Although reversing his decision never to play for Sweden again, next week's game against Seville will definitely be his last for Celtic.
I have my options already where I can go and play, but if I'm going away to play somewhere, I need to feel it's the right move, the right thing to do, and the right team.
The Spanish League remains Larsson's preferred option, but he could quit professional football and return to his roots in Helsingborg, where his newly constructed mansion sits waiting.
He had promised me and the other members of the club that he will play a season or so with us, and that will be a great thing for us.
I should be very surprised if he doesn't, if he didn't want to go on with professional football for some years more. I hope he will, because I think he will regret it.
Celtic's been fantastic for me. 7 years I've been here. I couldn't wish or hope that it turned out the way it had turned out.
Everybody will miss Henrik. I mean, I've enjoyed my football, you know, playing with Henrik, you know, more than I've enjoyed playing with anybody else.
He has proven that Celtic is among the big teams in European football.
You know, look back in years to come and see you played with Henrik Larsson, and when he broke records doing this, that and the other, so it's an absolute credit.
He'll be sorely and sadly missed as a guy, as well as an astonishing football player.
I think they'll still be chanting his name for years to come.
Henrik Larsson for me is a model human being who happens to be a professional footballer.
I think we would all have wished he would have changed his mind. That's not going to happen.
You get people that love him, adore him, and I think that it's the same with him. I think he loves the place, and I think he obviously loves the people.
It's going to be tough, and there's probably going to be a few tears as well when we leave, but it's a lovely city, it's a lovely country. I couldn't really wish for anything more.